Good afternoon there, Lions fans. I'm in and I'm going to talk a little NFL news today because that's what's hot and going. And I want to mention again, the Lions will be on Hard Knocks starting August 9th is the first episode. Going to be 5 episodes there over a 5-week span. Then there also is the NFL draft. But reporters came in, according to Darrell Lincoln of the Washington Post, Congress received info alleging Washington Commanders uses a scheme to hold back ticket revenue from other NFL teams. And that's to a damning report by A.J. Perez of Front Office Sports. Congress has received information that alleges under league rules, teams must share 40% of net ticket revenue to the NFL, which disperses the funds. And then NFL then distributes the team the money to everybody else. According to Perez, the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Oversight and Reform received information from at least one person saying the Commanders didn't provide the full 40% of ticket sales. Ticket sales not only impact other teams, but also the players, since ticket revenue is factored into the overall league revenues. That used to come up with each year's salary cap. It's unclear how long the Commanders allegedly withheld ticket revenue. The allegations state, and then an advertisement has to pop up while I'm reading, of course. The allegations state that Washington orchestrated the scheme with the intent of withholding the full and true amounts of ticket revenue meant to be shared with visiting teams. According to NFL bylaws, all teams are required to pass along 40% of ticket sales from each home game, minus ticket handling charges and taxes to the league, which then disperses the funds to the visiting teams. Basically, this is collusion. It's a racket. Basically, they're doing mafia-style shit with the money that was supposed to be shared, which means if one team did it, how many more are doing it, and how many do we not know about it? I mean, 60% of their net sales isn't enough? I don't get it. But if it's proven he did it, it means that Dan Snyder's losing the Washington Commanders. He will be going to jail for an awfully long time because this is almost RICO type shit. Hello, John Robinson. I'm glad you're here. I want to give a shout out to my buddy in Lansing, Joseph Host. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Joseph. I don't get why somebody who's that rich has to be that greedy. I mean, they get rich by being greedy in the first place, but after they got it, why can't they just do what they're supposed to do? It's a travesty. As far as everything Lions, I mean, there really hasn't been a lot that changed. We have 18.4 left in million in cap space after the $1 million signing for Jared Davis on a league minimum contract, which I expected. And Joseph Host chimes back. Hi, Jeremy. Thank you. Go Lions. So, yeah, if you finally Bezos will get his franchise, I don't think they'll sell it to Bezos. Bezos wants to move a team to Albuquerque. He's made that known. That's why Martha wouldn't sell. Had nothing to do with Sheila was ready to take over the team. It had to do with the fact he wanted to move the team out of Michigan, and they don't want the team out of Michigan. I mean, do you guys want the team to leave Michigan? I don't. So what's on your minds today, everybody? I so completely agree, Chris. Are you coming out to my remote for the draft? They'll be at Bay City Bills here in Bay City, of course, on Michigan Avenue. Yeah, I can't wait to get the season started. Period. I want to see what we have. I want to see how they do in the pro in their uh on April 28th, which is a Thursday, the first night of the draft. I am doing a live remote at Bay City Bills. I'm working with the owner to get some drink specials together and food specials for you guys. I'm going to be there by 6:30 or 7 o'clock to set up because it starts at 8. I'm just doing the first round there, though. Don't mind me. I woke up late and I needed to eat. But yeah, I'm excited to see who we get, when we get them, if there's any trades. I still think it's going to be a lot like last year. Everybody's pretty much, I mean, with the exception of if, oh yeah, at least a minimum of the first two picks, minimum. Because I'm sorry, at 34, if Christian Watson's, Brian Stover says you're getting me hungry. Also wanted to take a fact to mention that Brad Holmes in his presser the other day said Goff is our starter for now and possibly the foreseeable future, which means the probability of drafting a QB early has went to, and I'm okay with that. It's the backups that I question more than Goff. Because if he gets hurt, we're kind of screwed. The only one we haven't seen yet is Steven Montez, who's a UDFA rookie, and he's still on the roster as well. Okay, John Robinson brings up a great question. I love this. I saw an article online that stated the top 11 metro markets that don't have a professional sports team is and Grand Rapids was on it. You know what? The support you guys have done for the Griffins, it's probably an NHL team. I mean, hockey is big in Grand Rapids. Baseball would probably work too. I don't know about football. I mean, there's a lot of Lions fans in Grand Rapids. And let's say DeVos buys the Lions and they move to Grand Rapids. I think that would be an amazing move. I would much rather see them go to Lansing myself. Yeah, and I agree too. I think if there's any trades, if you call Sean Hill good, I'm scared. The best backup we ever had was Eric Kramer, hands down. I think if you're going to trade back, you either do it out of the 32 or 34 because it's going to be hard to get what the two pick normally garners. Yeah, I'm saying edge, and as much as I hate to say it, if Hutchinson's not there, Kyle Hamilton's not a bad option if you're not getting a good trade back. If you're not getting at least two firsts for the second round pick, it's not worth trading back. The bonus pick I would love as a fourth. Well, they drafted in the second year the runner up to the Heisman 2 years in a row, Rodney Peete. He was the starter. He went down very early. I feel you, Chris, and I know why. And I'm going to get into that here in a minute. Rodney Peete was drafted the year after Barry Sanders, and he became this, or a year or two after. I can't remember which. Well, anyways, he became the starter. Eric Kramer went down, comes in, and he won 9 out of 10 games to get us to the playoffs that year and wins the first playoff game in the Silverdome versus the Cowboys. And we shellacked them. And it was that year in 1991 that Madden coined the phrase when we beat Dallas in the regular season. Ugh. Don't you think we could use a blazing kick returner in the late rounds or a UDFA who holds onto the ball? Absolutely. I don't know why they kept Godwin Igwebuike, Fumbalaya, Fumbleruski, whatever you want to call him. Bow-legged man. Guy looks like he got bucked off a Bronco and broke both knees outwards. I'm not sold on Hamilton at 2, not because he's not a playmaker, not because he's not a great safety. He had that big injury. He missed half a season. That I understand people come back quick, but he was slated to run a 4.3 to 4.4, and he ran a 4.59, which is basically a 4.6. 4.6 is at the tail end of safeties. That's what safeties run at 29 and older. I'll double check everything that's for everybody, and I'll post up the winner in just a second. I was trying to figure out where the noise is coming from. It was my phone. Oops. Man, I can't wait till the season to start talking more. I want to see what Okudah do. He's supposed to be our shutdown, but always hurt. If he can't cover, move him to safety. Well, oh my goodness. Sauce Gardner, you're talking about that corner out of Cincinnati? He's the 7th best prospect in the draft. I have him going to either the Falcons or Jets because both of their defenses are horrendous. I want to see what Okudah do. He's supposed to be our shutdown, but I was always hurt. Yeah, I mean, yes, he's always been hurt. But that also hinders. How's it going, JB? I'm doing fantastic. I'm able to talk football. Let's talk about. Wait, I was trying to talk about Okudah. Okudah is already looking really good in the training videos I've seen. And everybody says, oh, man, look how slow he's running doing hurdles. If you don't slow down during hurdles, what happens? I mean, just out of curiosity, if you run at your full gait doing a hurdle, I would love to grab Jason Huntley and cut Igwebuike. That guy had great tape. He's excellent at kick returns, but he's a detriment on punt returns. Why not take a guy that can do both? And I'm guessing that would be Brennan Cook that I'm talking to. I've seen a mock with Hamilton going 4 and the Jets going 10. By the way, this is yep. I've seen the same thing. Tyler Black says, hey, Jeremy, he does the Burning Lions podcast, I believe it is, or Motor City Burning podcast. But, man, there's so much more to go in depth. I love talking prospects, but Sauce Gardner is probably one of the best corner prospects in the first round in a long time. I think he's better than Okudah by a long shot. And that's not a knock against Okudah. Don't get that wrong. Okudah was the 3rd best prospect when we grabbed him. It's a damn shame he's gotten injured. But they've been 2 different injuries, so that doesn't necessarily mean injury prone, but it's starting to look that way because he's only played 11 games in 2 years, which also means he's only had 11 games of training. Yeah, I got you. I already basically said I don't think they take Hamilton. I think they're going to go edge rusher or O-line at 4. But I see your point. I think the edge rushers' talent outweighs Hamilton in the long run because of the early pick. Pardon me. Early picks tend not to pan out. Someone in another podcast thought I was an idiot for suggesting someone other than Khalif Raymond. Oh, that's because they love Khalif Raymond. They love watching him drop to his knees to catch a punt and then muff it. They love watching Godwin run punts back, but don't love him running the football. I don't get that mentality. If you can't do your job right, then don't do it. Get off the team. That's the way I've always been. That's why I was glad they cut Lynn. And immediately you saw a difference in how Goff played as soon as the play calling changed. And it took 2 games before Reynolds got on the field with Goff. Not one. We signed him. He missed a week. He missed that game, and he missed the next week, and he didn't play till the following week. And there was an immediate impact, even with a crappy backup. I didn't even want us to re-sign Raymond, to be honest. I thought he could kick rocks. Him and Kadiril Hodge did kick rocks, thank God, because Kadiril Hodge and Khalif Raymond led the team in drops. You know who had the least amount of drops on the team? That man right there. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had one drop. That was after his 3rd catch in the first game. He had 1 drop. To be at the midway point of the season with only 39 catches. You're a Goff supporter. You're right. He did not lose that Super Bowl. That defense didn't play well at all. And the no running game didn't help either. God, I just want to eat. I should have waited. Oh. And I love my fans. I love you guys. I love talking Lions with you. Yes, he did. He had the least amount in the NFL. Even Jamar Chase had more drops, but he's a more prolific route runner. Richard Head, should the Lions take Trayvon Walker at 2 if Hutchinson is gone? I have said I'd be torn because both of the big names out of Georgia that ran fast and are good were part-time players at Georgia. I'd be torn if I would take Trayvon Walker or Jordan Davis at 2. I like Jordan Davis. I like what I read. I looked at GPS tracking, which is how you judge how well somebody does. I'd almost take, I hate to say it, Karlaftis over Hamilton, but I would take Hamilton over Thibs. Trayvon Walker, he's a part-time player just like Jordan Davis was, but both of them, if you do the GPS tracking, linebackers average in the NFL 970 yards traveled in a game because they have GPS helmet trackers in their helmets so they can track all this and keep the stats and then match it up with the kids in college who actually play less minutes in their games. Jordan Davis at D-tackle, NFL D-tackles average 500 yards. He runs 850 yards a game with only being in 30% of the snaps. And everybody says, well, that's because he didn't do his job right. No, because the D-end or the outside linebacker loses containment and he's chasing people down from behind. That gets you gassed. You have to sit out a couple plays, especially when you're that big and that fast. That tells you how fast he is. He was chasing down running backs. And the Dern says Trayvon Walker is overrated. I agree. I think him and Nakobe Dean both are overrated. Nakobe Dean, he ran slower than Miles Killebrew. And Miles Killebrew was the exact same build. And we saw how well the Miles Killebrew project worked in Detroit. It didn't. So Nakobe Dean is not the prospect. If you're going to take linebackers, you take actual linebackers. You take Devin Lloyd. You take Chad Muma. You take Leo Chanel. You take Troy Anderson out of Montana State. You take Brian Asamoah. You take Oh my God, there's so many more out there. There's even guys late that I like. I don't have the list right in front of me, but I have looked them up. Corners, I mean, the corners after the big three. Oh, Chris Bolin, if we were able to make a trade, let's say to 5-7 or 4-10 with the Jets or Giants, one of those picks with me would be Lloyd. I'm just saying. I won't take him at 2. You're right. At 2, it's stupid. I think Lloyd and Troy Anderson are the most complete linebackers in this draft because Troy actually has the sideline to sideline speed, whereas Devin Lloyd has the sideline to sideline tape. If Hutch is gone and Philly trade at 2 and 32 for 15, 16, 19, a good linebacker. Yeah, I don't think you have to give up 32 to get 15, 16, and 19. 4, 5, and 6, definitely pick Lloyd. I mean, hell, if I had the 5 and 7, I might even take Lloyd and Gardner. Get that contract. Somebody contact Pepsi because I need it. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Dern. I do believe that is the right price. The first round and a third round for the 3 picks would be right. Richard Hedges, what are your thoughts on the perceived interest in the Lions with Thibodeau? You know, I don't know if they were exactly there for Thibodeau. There were 6 Oregon players in this draft. And there's the other safety, Verone McKinley, who lit it up speed-wise. He ran a 4.3, who's tall, lanky, fits Brad Holmes and what he likes to draft. That's what he's drafted out there at LA at safety. So it's not just Thibodeau. You have to go. He didn't work out the complete combine. So if there's a team and there's a shot you might take him, I just hope they don't take him at 2. Because I think he's going to be the next Jadeveon Clowney / Ziggy Ansah and end up not staying on a field healthy his whole career. That's a good idea. I should get a plain one and do it in Mountain Dew colors. I like it. I mean, he is raw, but I'm not sold. On who there? Thibodeau? Who are you talking about, Chris? All 32 teams were there. They wanted to see what he could do. But you're talking about the whole pajama warrior thing. And everybody's going to look great in their pajamas running around in circles. Even Dan Campbell talked about it. But you know who looked bad in his pajamas? Oh, Thibodeau? He's not as raw as people think. My problem is his injury history. He missed almost his entire junior year of high school. He missed 4 games his senior year of high school. He had 1 season that he played without injury, and that was his freshman year of college. And then the next year, he got hurt the last game in the third quarter, which was the injury he didn't recover from, which was 2020. And he came out too soon and came out like gangbusters, and he made a cut the wrong way. I think it was in game 3 this past season, and he re-injured that same ankle again. That's 4 injuries to that ankle. Darren, I'm going to disagree because of injury history. I think Trayvon Walker would be a better option, but he's not a bit more talented. I have this to say about Thibodeau. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That is how Hutch became the number one prospect over Thibodeau. I like Jermaine Jackson, Myjai Sanders, both of those guys. If they can put the weight back on from the Senior Bowl, I would love them. But with as much weight as they dropped, I'm scary. Look up some late round guys. I mean, I got some guys that I love. Javon Halai out of Coastal Carolina, wide receiver. He was a runner up for the Biletnikoff and didn't even get an invite to the combine, which I find that amazingly stupid on the guys that run the combine. Let's look up that size of speed because I don't think he's that great myself. Da, 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 da. Oh, what? Oh, okay. I want to see his size. I want to see all that stuff. He's 6'5" and 272. His hands are 10 and 3/4. Yeah, I guess he is a little bigger than I thought. But potential is my thing. They talk about all these QBs in this goddamn draft about potential. Dibbs has the potential to be the first player to bust out of the NFL due to injury, too. So, yeah, he has potential, but if he doesn't use it, which he hasn't for the last year and a half, he has the potential to be the worst bust. Prospect grade, according to NFL.com, 6.48, which means will become a good starter in 2 to 3 years. So if you're drafting at 2, you want a playmaker who's going to run in and jump in and stay healthy and be there every down, every game. Trayvon Walker is not an every down player. He's a situational pass rusher. Which goes to me back to what I said. George Kalafdis, Aiden Hudson, Thibodeau, if you have to, are the best DNs in this draft. And I say Thibodeau if you have to because I don't like him. I don't like his work ethic. I said the same thing about Greedy Williams before that draft in 2019. Everybody scoffed at me. Guess what? He fell to the second round, now is a dime back and about ready to bust out of the league because he sucks. And I would take Hutchinson and Karlaftis over Thibodeau myself. Because they're every down players. And don't miss a lot of games. Yeah. Jermaine Johnson or Jackson? I thought it was Jackson for some reason. But anyways, yeah, I know who you're talking about. FSU, right? You know, there's a lot of players that I've watched and Darren, you're right. He does have potential. I have it at 60-40. I guess we just have to agree to disagree on Walker. That's another thing with Walker. His injury history is night and day better than Tibbs. Yeah, it is. But talent-wise, look at the stats and tell me that Trayvon Walker looks like a better player than Hutchinson or Kalafdis, and I'll put him at the second best. Thank you for verifying. And everybody says, oh, he was buried in a great Georgia defense. I don't care. Playmakers make plays. They're not a pajama warrior. We need a dog in that linebacker core. We need a dog on the outside and that middle. Absolutely, John Robinson. That's what I was saying. And that's what Campbell wants. He wants somebody that's going to go out there and bite kneecaps. Do you know why we brought Jared Davis back? And I'll tell you exactly why we brought Jared Davis back. They did not get at the 129 mark. Okay, let me go back and find that. Yeah, I said something about you saying in a great Darren McCarty quote about the hard work and talent, right? Oh, wait. Reason I thought about giving up the 32 to Philadelphia in my trade scenario was 4 first-round picks would be up for big contracts if the play warrants that at the same time. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but here's the thing. First round picks, bust. I'm answering it now, John. First round picks bust at a 62%, or I mean a 38% clip. So that means more than likely, if you have 4 first round picks, only 2 are going to be worth a damn. Am I wrong on this? The math is there. Maybe 3 if you're lucky. And the 32nd pick at the cap room, it's the same as the first 10 picks at the second round because of the rookie salary cap. So not a lot of people agree, but if a QB like Howell or Corral fall to 32, they should consider it. Goff's cap hit next year is $35 million with a dead cap of only 10. I said, yeah, but here's the thing, Darren. What if they do want to do both extensions this year for Hawk and for Oruwariye? They ain't got the money. They don't have the money. So in order to get the money this year, there's only 3 contracts you can extend, and 2 of them are already 5 years out. You're going to extend them out another 2 years? Here's who you extend, and you make it with 2 years voidable. So basically, we end up stuck with them for another 2 years. You do Jared Goff, and you get him down to a $16.5 million cap hit. You extend him out from this 3-year contract he's in now to a 5-year with 2 years voidable. Because Goff is not as Goffle as you think he is. I don't know how you could say out of 5 games played at the end of the season, with 2 of them being the number 1 ranked QB passer rating wise in the league, and the other 2, he was top 5, and the last one he was 10th. And that was in the horrible game where we got blowed out. If you call that horrible, I guess you need to go look. They just did that. They just extended Vaitai. They just restructured him and extended it out. They can't do it again, because otherwise the dead cap changes and now we're screwed with and stuck with them for 3. I'm not saying he's amazing. I'm just saying he did amazing things at the end of the season with better play calling. Jared Davis was signed because he was the only guy in the linebacker room that was as fast as JRM. And he has starting experience in the NFL. He's going to be a rotational piece. We're going to bring him in certain situations. And after the 9 weeks with Lynn calling plays, Goff only had a 63, maybe a 64% completion percentage. He raised it to a 67.2 after 5 games. You know what it takes to average in those 5 games to raise it to a 67? 74.8%. He had 11 touchdowns and 1 pick in the last 5 games he played. He had a passer rating over 100 in those last 5 games he played for an average. In one of the last 5 games, he had a horrible completion percentage, but he had no picks. Goff had a better year than half the QBs in the league. Guess who else he had better stats than? Go look it up. I'm not lying. He had better stats than Lamar Jackson. I can give you Jackson's stats right now. 64% completion percentage, 2,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 13 picks, and he had more fumbles than Goff. Oh, I would love to see the Goff haters' faces if this team improves dramatically and Goff is the MVP. I'm not going that bold, but yeah, I would love to see it too. You know, I'm going to call somebody out who basically came out and said we were racist on another podcast. This same guy also said after Matthew Stafford won a game that, in the playoffs, I won't be impressed unless he goes to the Super Bowl. He goes to the Super Bowl and wins it. He apologizes. But then he has the nerve to come back, and because we don't like the prospect he likes and calls us racist. I wouldn't like Malik Willis if I was Chinese and half retarded. I wouldn't like, I don't care what ethnicity someone is. I do not judge someone on the color of their skin. I judge them on their quality of play. He played 2 ranked opponents the last year before he came out in the draft. You want to know what his QBR was for those 2 games? 47.2. And one of the ranked teams wasn't even in a Power 5 conference. It was Coastal Carolina. Oh. Potentially, Malik Willis might be able to be a starter in 3 years, minimum of bench riding. But I wouldn't waste a first-round pick. Facebook user, Goff needs weapons. He didn't have a fair shot last season, but he won't be the reason the Lions have a bad season. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. In the only game that Goff the only offense I would pick in this draft is wide receiver. Yeah. We need depth. Chris, we need depth. We have 6 glaring needs we have to get in this draft out of the 9 picks we have. 6. We need an edge. We need 2 or 3 linebackers. We need 2 or 3 safeties. The cornerback room is so deep, and I could care less than anybody says. Dan Davis hops in and says, Happy Sunday, Jeremy Ballrick. Good to see y'all. You know, I love talking football. I love talking the draft because those that were with me knows how I know exactly what I can do. Oh, God, I'm sick of hearing about Trey McBride. He's slow. Watch his game film. He's slow. He's slow as molasses. His feet move like they're being dragged through quicksand. I hate Trey McBride with a passion. I've watched a lot of game film. I'm done with him. He's a great blocker. He's an okay receiver, but he runs routes horribly. So my question, what if Goff plays like he did the first half of the season? There's no backup plan to Goff. Worst case scenario, besides the QB busting, Goff plays very well and you could trade. But a third pick. You're not racist. You see this team improving quickly and feel strong that the Willis pick would move us backwards. I do. My point is we've seen the worst of Goff, so why not get a backup plan? Foot speed is not coachable. His foot speed is horrible. He has no speed. You can't teach speed. Oh my God. Speed is not a coachable thing. You either have it or you don't. I don't care if you're wearing pajamas or if you're wearing pads. Trey McBride only looks fast in gym shorts. I'll look up his 40 time, which it wasn't great. He ran a 4.56, and they were all raving about him, but watch his game film. I love talking football with you, bro. Everyone has their opinions, and you give great points. And he was a Pro Bowl QB. He's not Chase Daniels. Absolutely. Goff with weapons can win games. Kupp is a 4.6. I get that. What I'm saying is Trey McBride doesn't run like Kupp does in games. Kupp looks faster than a 4.6 on film, on the game film. He doesn't look slower. Trey McBride may have ran a 4.56, but he looks like he runs a 4.9 on the field. There's a difference. I'm worried about John Mechie and Justin Ross. Both of them had some horrible injuries, and you don't know if a player can come back from that well. I would much rather take George Pickens, who actually came back and ran really well in the national championship, and he ran well also at the combine. His problem is that injury is going to scare a lot of teams. In the third round, if you don't get in the second round either Christian Watson or Alec Pierce, I would take George Pickens. That's my pick. And as far as later picks, Taquan Thornton is considered a day 3 pick, and he was the fastest wide receiver in the draft. I don't get it. I don't get why he's staying there. Oh, wait, I remember. It's because his hands are only slightly better than Eric Ebron's. Mechie tore his ACL like Pickens. I do understand the concern. I'd love to see them take Hassan Haskins in the 5th. If he's up there, he'd be a good power back. But we have the 181. So here's the thing. If your pick in the 5th is 177, and let's say Amari Barno is there, the fastest DN since Jason Owe, which was just last year, I would take Amari Barno there and pray that Hassan Haskins falls 4 or 5 more picks to you in the 6th round. That's just me. If I took him in the 6th round, I'd feel much better with drafting Hassan Haskins for death. That's just me. John Mechie is the St. Brown of last year. The only thing I don't like is what we don't have in our wide receiver room is size. When I say size, taller than 6'2". We have nobody other than DJ Shark. whose health is in question. So if I'm drafting, I'm not looking at one receiver shorter than 6'3". I could care less what they did on the field. I could care less how fast they are. Drake London might be going in the top 10. Dan Davis asks, how many LBs do you think we should take this year? I think we should take 2 or 3. Minimum of 2. Minimum of 2 safeties. 1 or 2 wide receivers. The only way you're getting Drake London is if we have multiple picks in the middle of the first. I just looked up Reynolds the other day. Reynolds is 6 foot. If you get Leo Chanel, you don't grab Chad Muma. Both of those guys ran basically. Yeah, but he's tiny. Again, 6'3" and 196 is tiny. There's a reason he hasn't been a number 1 guy anywhere. Talking about frame-wise. I was 5'11" and 198 and looked the most fit of my life not too long ago. I put on a few pounds. Thank God they went to the gun show. Ugh. I don't trust Josh Reynolds for a full season. He looked great for that half a season he was here, but we don't know. He's another guy that shows up some games and disappears in others in his pass. Yes, I like bigger body. 6'3", 210, 6'4", 212, 6'3", 218. I just named 3 guys right off the top, 3 sizes right off the top of my head. Want to know who they were? 6'3", 210, George Pickens. 6'4", 212, Christian Watson. Alex Pierce, 6'3", 218. Those are the guys between the second and third. I don't care where you pick them, you get them. I don't even care if you got to trade back to get multiple picks. You get them. I would almost trade that 32. If you made the trade out of the 2, and let's say you got the 4 and the 10, or you got the 3 picks from Philly for that, I would trade the 32 back and get a second, a third, a fourth, and possibly something next year. We don't have a 4th round pick. So 5 picks in those first 3 rounds, that's fantastic. We don't have a 4th round pick. Cleveland has our 4th round pick. Damn it. Any free agents out there you think we should take flyers on? I think they're done. I think they're done with free agency. We have 76 on the roster. 53 stays on the active, and I think it's, 17 on the practice squad total, or 14? Something like that. Yeah, I don't see it happening now. They didn't make those 2 moves that I said they would have to make in order to be able to fit them on the roster. I would love Sue. I've said it a million times, and he loves Dan Campbell. No, thank you. He's a year younger than Brockers and is on the field 20% more. Why would you say no, thank you? Yeah, I agree, Dern. Well, yeah, that's because Eric Ekusama is like, he's Drake London. an inch shorter and the big guy like Drake London. He didn't run at the combine because he didn't want to hurt his leg, but he did run all the drills, and he looked good out there doing it, except when Malik Willis was throwing, but that's another story. Next. Well, Trinity Benson may surprise a lot of people. He's been working with Goff, Okudah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Josh. Now that Josh Reynolds signed, he's been there working out too to help Okudah get better at coverage, which is what he needed to work on because he lacks the game experience needed to be developed as a third-year guy. He's only got 1 year of games in, guys. Less than a year. He's got 2/3 of a year. I'm sick of people saying that he's a bust when he hasn't even been on the field for 2 seasons yet. But Trinity Benson has been working on his route running. And what 2 better guys to learn from? I mean, you got the guy that has the speed to keep up with him. That's Josh Reynolds. Trinity Benson is actually faster than Reynolds if you go look up his RAS. Trinity Benson is as fast as DJ Shark. I think he ran a 4.38. Shark runs a 4.34. Boom. We got speed, but he's the one that's 6 foot tall. Sorry about that. I got confused. Trinity Benson is 6 foot. So we got a speedy guy for the fly route for the inside and the wide receiver no back spread. I personally don't think we should ever have a no back spread. I think we should do a pistol full house formation, leave all 3 running backs and or Cabinda and 2 running backs in and block for Goff and just send 2 wide receivers deep. Now you'd have options if you draft a speedy big guy. You'd have Shark. You'd have Reynolds. You'd have Benson. And then you throw in whatever the rookie is. Any one of those 3 rookies I named are all sub 4.4 guys at 6'3" or taller. That's why I like them. That being said, I got to give a shout out to my sponsor real quick. A1 Tire and Auto Repair on Olka Cullen and Euclid. Also has TNT Auto Sales there. We also have the location on Broadway and the one I work at now in Saginaw, 945 East Genesee. Come on in, say hi if you're ever around. That being said, I'm going to be on Motor City Lions Talk tonight at 7 o'clock. Our guests are Dan Leach and Matt Derry, formerly of 97 Won the Ticket, and former Lions wide receiver Stefan Logan. Please tune in and take a watch and a listen. What player will be a surprise to fall out of the top 10 picks? Who will be the surprise who gets into the top 10 picks? I don't think there's a lot of surprises getting in. I think there's going to be three to 5 offensive linemen taking in the top 10. I think there's 1 wide receiver, and I think it's Drake London or Garrett Wilson. As much as I hate to say it, that's who's probably going to go first. They're 1 and 2 at the wide receiver room. It depends on what the team wants. DNs, I see 3, and I named them in order: Hutchinson, Karlaftis, Thibodeau. Trayvon Walker is going to be the one that falls out of the top 10 because people are falling in love with the combine and the pajama warrior stuff. He doesn't have the stats to back up that style of potential. He has potential to be a starter. That's why he won't go in the top 10. Steve Bauer says on Okudah played in Pascal and Patricia's shit scheme, so I give him a pass. Amen, brother. And my good friend David Pike, who also hails from Burton, Michigan, just outside of Flint, shall be coming back into town in June. He's the one that is the host of the Motor City Lions Talk. So please tune in at 7 on YouTube. We'll be there. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. It makes it easier also to see everybody's names and stuff like that because YouTube doesn't have all that special crap for commenting on a live show. And the reason why is because eventually I'd love to get paid to do this, and I'm not going to ask you guys to pay me to do what I love to do. It would be nice. That being said, this has been Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. I will be back on tomorrow night with any fresh news that I find out. If you have any questions, I'll give you 30 seconds to shoot me another one. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow night or later tonight if you watch the Motor City Lions talk. Have a blessed evening.